So we're taking a break from the TT for today, and we're gonna briefly focus our attention over on the A3. Now, if you're new to my channel, first of all, welcome. We're building a Mark 1 Audi TT Quattro for Time Attack, doing tons of work to it, plenty of videos if you'd like to catch up and see what's going on over there. But for today, we're gonna draw our attention over to my daily driver whenever the TT is getting worked on, and that is my 2006 Audi A3 Quattro with a 24 valve VR6 in it. Auxito, who I've worked with in the past before with the TT, were kind enough to send me another set of bulbs. Now, not only did they send me a set of D3S HID replacements for the headlights, but they also sent me H11 fog lights. I went with yellow, so we'll see what that looks like. But similar situation with the TT. These cars, while they do have HIDs, they are not very bright by today's standards. Now, I feel that I am the perfect target audience for this kind of product, which is why I opted to do this again. A lot of you had a few things to say last time when I did it on the TT, that these aren't like the ideal solution, the end-all be-all, either retrofit kits, all of that. And you're not wrong, but you're missing the point. The gap that these are trying to bridge are for people like me that don't want to go through the process of completely retrofitting my entire lighting solution on any of my cars. These are drop-in plug-and-plays that go in place of your original existing bulb, where maybe you might not get the full benefits of what a solid LED conversion kit would give you, but these are going to be considerably brighter than your Xenons and especially your halogens. Now, I will say about halogens, LEDs tend to be a little bit more iffy on those, primarily because of the housing that they're in. You are literally just scattering light haphazardly. And you know, if that's what you want to have, then that's what you want to have. That's fine. Projectors with HIDs, it's a little bit better, while not ideal. Again, it is better. It is an improvement. Like I said, I've had them on my TT. They were almost twice as bright. So I expect about the same out of these Auxitos. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and take these out of the box and let's talk about them. So the first set we'll look at are the H11s. These are going to be the fog lights. Now, like I mentioned, I did go with the bright yellow versus the white. I already have yellowish fog lights, standard white fog lights, and they do penetrate a little bit more, but you know exactly what I'm referring to when I say I get the yellow ones. Now, before we talk about them, let's go ahead and we'll set these out here. And we'll grab the other ones out of here too. Now for the D3Ss, what's really nice is they include gloves with all of the Xenon replacements. And for the reason that if you should not touch your Xenon bulbs with your bare hands. Your oils will create hot spots on the bulbs themselves, and it will ruin them. It'll cause them to burn out. So it is nice of them to include gloves, so you don't have to do that. And then the D3Ss, these are also rather beefy. And I'm pretty excited to get these thrown on. So now let's start with the D3Ss. So very similar to the setup on the TT, these have a fan included into the heatsink. Now, if you know anything about LEDs, they do get very, very hot, so having an included fan will increase the lifespan. I believe that Auxito rates all of their LEDs to about 50,000 hours of runtime, which is awesome. I believe these are also IP67 rated, which is pretty neat. The only ones I think would probably be at risk would be the fog lights. I have had the misfortune of having to drive through some flooded waters, so my fog lights do get submerged from time to time. Not on purpose, of course. Now, the nice thing about D3Ss is that there's really only one way for these to go in. They literally have a top-bottom, so there isn't anything to fuss with here. This is a plug and play. Now, another thing that I really like about these are the build quality. I am a huge fan of these build qualities. They feel weighty and nice in the hand. And I know that that doesn't necessarily mean that the quality of the lighting and things like that doesn't really have a whole lot to do with it. But from my perspective, care and quality of how something is built is indicative of what you can expect for the rest of the product. Now, these in particular, because they are D3Ss, there is no orientation that you have to worry about or be mindful of. They only go in one way in the headlight. Now, for something like the TT that has D2Ss, those can rotate and everything, so they have a collar that rotates. So this one is built in, it's actually screwed onto the housing. But the nice thing, like I said, is you don't have to fuss with it. If you are going to buy these for a different vehicle that might have a different form factor, that is something that you'll have to keep in mind, but they do make it so these collars will lock into place to your respective headlight, and then you would just orient to make sure that the blade is situated in a perpendicular fashion. So then it gives you, these should have about a 180 light spread, so 180 degrees of light spread on this side, 180 on this side, and that'll give you your effective 360 degree. And then these are made to spec to where the lighting element matches the lighting element of a factory bulb that would correspond to that form factor. So there are a lot of benefits to these. These are quite beefy. I have seen quite a few others. But from the many different people that I have spoken to that have these too, they are incredibly happy with it. The biggest bonus, especially for these LEDs, are that they are CAN bus compatible. Now what that means is if you have a car like mine, VW products are probably the most finicky vehicles with CAN bus. And all that is a communication network for the vehicle to give you different indications from sensors. So they are very information heavy vehicles. They are smart vehicles, so to speak. There are just a bunch of sensors to relay information to you, the user, or to the diagnostic system. That includes lights. And the way that it does that is through resistances and expectations of what those resistances are. So then if that ever changes, which in the case of a bulb, when the bulb goes out, either the circuit is cut or they are degraded, dead, whatever, that'll shoot back over to the car. You end up getting a light. The beep says your bulbs are out, even though they're on. So CAN bus compatible lights eliminate that. You don't have to put any kind of resistors. They do have resistors that they offer for some vehicles, but that'll be on a vehicle to vehicle basis. I would assume that those are more unique situations, because if they can get something like that to work on a VW Audi product and you don't have to install resistors or anything like that, you can imagine that probably the rest of your mainstream vehicles that may have a CAN bus indicator for your lights, that you can expect for these to be plug and play as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and toss these in. And just like that, we've swapped out our bulbs. Now, if you've got an A3, you probably know how awful it is to do something as simple as changing the headlights. And if you don't, I am so sorry when it comes time to swapping those out. They've packaged a lot into probably the tightest space imaginable. So anyway, those are completely out, swapped. They work beautifully. However, you'll notice that I've got the laptop out and I've actually got it hooked up to VCDS, and I ran some codes. Because the fog lights specifically, they are not CAN bus compatible. Or at the very least, the trigger that sets off the indicator on the cluster, it's getting triggered with these LEDs. Now, for me personally, that is not a big deal. And as a second point, they do offer resistors. And like I mentioned before, they do mention on some of these that they will require the resistors. So for our case, the fog light LEDs on this particular vehicle, it's going to require the resistor. So I'll reach out to Auxito, have them send those out to me as well. But just something to keep in mind if you choose to grab these and your car also has a trigger for fog light bulb out indicators on your cluster. Not all the vehicles do. Some vehicles just don't care. Mine does, and it's showing up in the cluster. That aside, everything else is working beautifully. For me, the biggest barrier for a lot of these plug-and-play LEDs are the CAN bus for the headlights specifically. They are your primary source of light. They get a little bit more complicated once you're working with HIDs because one, the packaging and the cabling and the resistances that you're playing with inside of these headlights, it's a little bit more complicated, it's a little bit more involved. It becomes really annoying to have to fiddle with resistors and getting that right to operate on a main headlight. So, not an issue with those, which is where the massive win for me is. And like I said, I got the laptop out here to kind of show you guys the logs. And that's all that's coming up. So, and same with my cluster. My cluster's working perfectly fine. It's not giving me any other light out indicators, simply just for the left and right fog light. So, let's take these out on a test drive. I'll show you guys a before to see what everything kind of looked like prior. And then we'll do the after with the LED headlights and the LED fog lights. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but in person, these are a massive, massive upgrade. They are considerably brighter. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. The yellow fog lights aren't very visible currently, so they don't make a huge distracting yellow cast while you're driving. They're pretty much drowned out by the headlights right now, so I'm sure that when it's raining or foggy or anything like that, they'll become more apparent and thus more useful. But I like it. It looks really good. It's not distracting. It's awesome. There we have it. A huge shout out to Auxito for sending this set of LED bulbs out. I'm really happy with them. I continue to remain impressed. Like I said, this is now my second set of LEDs. First one they sent out for the TT, and now the A3 is outfitted. I do plan on getting LED taillight bulbs and things like that. Like I said, I'm super happy with them. If you would like to get a set of these, I do have an affiliate link if you would like to support. Otherwise, you can just check them out on their website. But if you would like to support me and this channel and everything that I do here, by all means, I would absolutely love it if you used my affiliate link that I have linked down below, as well as my discount code. They do have sales and discount codes often, but if you'd like to use mine, I have mine available as well. It is TNEP15 for 15% off. And I hope you grab yourself a set of bulbs. Like I said, I've been really happy with them. I know a lot of people have been really happy with them. And yeah, I'm gonna continue to run them until, I don't know, just gonna continue to run them. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. And if you were on the fence on getting drop-in LED bulbs, I hope that this, swayed you towards a more positive direction and possibly even towards Auxito as the brand. And if this kind of stuff interests you, I would love it if you checked out my other work. We're doing a lot of stuff. Like I said, we're building a Mark I Audi TT Quattro for Time Attack. I just recently started fabricating for the first time. I got to tune this thing myself. We built the engine, built the cylinder head. We're doing a lot of stuff here. So well, with that all being said, I appreciate you guys sticking around, and I will catch you guys next time.